Baston set the pawn's gambit. Chapter 1. The First Move. The chessboard was a battlefield, and 8-year-old Ethan Carter was losing, badly. His opponent, a smug classmate named Marcus, leaned back in his chair, smirking as he captured Ethan's queen with a flourish. The other kids gathered around the table erupted into laughter. "Checkmate in 3 moves," Marcus declared, his voice dripping with condescension. "You're hopeless, Ethan. Maybe stick to checkers." Ethan's face burned with humiliation. He stared at the board, his king trapped and defenseless. It wasn't just the loss that stung, it was the way Marcus made him feel small, like he didn't belong in the world of chess. That night, Ethan lay in bed, replaying the game in his mind. He had made so many mistakes, moving his pawns too early, leaving his queen exposed, failing to see Marcus's traps. But beneath the shame, a spark ignited. He didn't want to be the kid who lost. He wanted to be the one who won, who commanded the board with confidence and skill. The next day, Ethan asked his parents for a chess set. They were surprised. Ethan had never shown much interest in games that required patience or strategy, but they obliged, buying him a simple wooden set from the local toy store. Ethan spent hours studying the pieces, learning their names and how they moved. He read the rules over and over, trying to understand the logic behind each move. He played against himself, pretending to be both sides, and though he often got confused, he didn't give up. Chess became his obsession. He carried a pocket-sized board everywhere, practicing during lunch breaks and on the bus ride home. He watched videos of famous games, marveling at the way grandmasters like Garry Kasparov and Magnus Carlsen seemed to see 10 moves ahead. But no matter how much he practiced, Ethan kept losing. At school, Marcus continued to taunt him, calling him the pawn and challenging him to games just to humiliate him. Ethan's confidence wavered, but he refused to quit. "One day," he whispered to himself, "I'll beat him. I'll beat everyone." Chapter 2. The Middle Game. Years passed, and Ethan's dedication never wavered. By the time he was 12, he had joined the school chess club and started competing in local tournaments. He didn't win often, but each loss taught him something new. He learned to control the center of the board, to anticipate his opponent's strategies, and to stay calm under pressure. One day, a new student joined the chess club. Her name was Clara, and she was a prodigy. She had been playing since she was 4 and had already won several regional championships. When she sat down across from Ethan for their first game, he felt a mix of awe and intimidation. Clara moved her pieces with precision and confidence, her eyes never leaving the board. Ethan fought hard, but within 20 moves, she had him cornered. "Good game," she said as she delivered the final checkmate. Ethan nodded, impressed but not discouraged. "Can we play again?" Clara smiled. "Sure, but you'll have to get better if you want to beat me." From that day on, Clara became Ethan's mentor and rival. They played countless games together, analyzing their moves and discussing strategies. Clara introduced Ethan to advanced concepts like positional play, pawn structures, and endgame theory. She also taught him the importance of mental toughness, how to stay focused even when the odds were against him. With Clara's guidance, Ethan's skills improved dramatically. He started winning more games at the chess club and even placed 3rd in a regional tournament. But there was one opponent he still couldn't beat: Marcus. Marcus had also improved over the years, and he seemed to take particular pleasure in defeating Ethan. Their games were always intense, with Marcus trash-talking and trying to rattle Ethan's confidence, but Ethan refused to let him get under his skin. He studied Marcus's games, looking for weaknesses and patterns. He knew that one day he would have his chance to prove himself. Chapter 3. The End Game. By the time Ethan turned 16, he had become one of the top junior players in the state. He had won several tournaments and earned a reputation for his aggressive playing style and never-give-up attitude. But his ultimate goal was still out of reach: defeating Marcus in a high-stakes match. That opportunity finally came at the state championship. Ethan and Marcus were seeded to face each other in the final round, and the tension between them was palpable. The day of the match, Ethan arrived early at the tournament hall. He sat at the board, running through his opening moves in his head. When Marcus walked in, flanked by a group of admirers, Ethan felt a surge of adrenaline. "Ready to lose, pawn?" Marcus sneered as he took his seat. Ethan didn't respond. He simply nodded and shook Marcus's hand. The game began. Marcus opened with his signature Sicilian defense, a move Ethan had anticipated. He countered with the Alpine variation, a strategy he had spent months perfecting. The game was a battle of wits, with both players trading blows and trying to outmaneuver each other. As the hours passed, the tension in the room grew. Spectators gathered around the board, whispering and analyzing the moves. Clara stood at the edge of the crowd, her eyes fixed on Ethan. She could see the determination in his face, the way he leaned forward, his fingers hovering over the pieces as if they were extensions of his mind. The game reached a critical point. Marcus had a slight advantage, but Ethan spotted a hidden opportunity, a sacrifice that could turn the tide. He hesitated for a moment, weighing the risks. Then, with a deep breath, he made the move. Marcus's eyes widened as he realized what Ethan had done. He tried to counter, but it was too late. Ethan's pieces swarmed the board, forcing Marcus's king into a corner. "Checkmate," Ethan said quietly, his voice steady but filled with emotion. The room erupted into applause. Marcus stared at the board, his face pale with shock. Then, to everyone's surprise, he extended his hand. "Good game," he muttered. Ethan shook his hand, feeling a sense of triumph he had never known before. He had done it. He had beaten Marcus, not just on the board, but in his mind. Chapter 4: The Grandmaster's Path. Ethan's victory at the state championship was a turning point. It gave him the confidence to pursue his dream of becoming a Grandmaster. He continued to train relentlessly, studying under top coaches and competing in national and international tournaments. The road was far from easy. He faced setbacks, losses, and moments of self-doubt. But he never forgot the lessons he had learned, the importance of perseverance, the value of a strong support system, and the power of believing in oneself. Years later, Ethan stood on the stage at the World Chess Championship, facing off against the reigning Grandmaster. The stakes were higher than ever, but Ethan felt calm. He had come a long way from the boy who had been mocked for his weak chess skills. He was no longer a pawn. He was a king, ready to claim his throne. As he made his first move, Ethan smiled. The game had just begun. The end. This story is a testament to the power of determination and resilience. Ethan's journey from a mocked beginner to a confident Grandmaster is a reminder that with hard work and belief in oneself, even the most daunting dreams can be achieved.